Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our webinar Women in Tech Driving Innovation Through Inclusion, held in collaboration with Women in Engineering. So we'll just wait for a few more minutes for more people to join in. So in the meanwhile, you all can go ahead and introduce yourself. You can just drop your names in the chat and where are you all joining us from. I think enough people are here, so we can officially begin. So hello again, I am Momna Vakas, Head of HR and Operations at Lantotech, and I'm very excited to welcome you all to our webinar, Women in Tech Driving Innovation Through Inclusion. So before we move forward towards the core of our webinar, I would like to give a brief introduction about myself. I have an engineering background with over 4 years of experience in human resource management, leadership, and organizational growth. And as a founding member of Lantotech, I have played a key role in growing the company 5x by mainly focusing on culture, processes, and operational excellence. And I have a strong belief that inclusion and teamwork are the two key pillars that make workplaces strong and more innovative. So we are very excited to be joined by some seasoned professionals from the industry today who bring incredible insight and experience to this conversation. So I'll request each panelist to introduce themselves one by one, starting off with Amsil Naeem, Head of Embedded Microcontrollers at MRS Technologies. Amsil, please, can you give the audience a brief introduction about yourself?
Thank you so much. I'm Amsal Naeem, as you already mentioned. I'm here at MRS Technologies leading embedded team. We have different projects, a variety of projects. Our main expertise over here are in automobile industries. Apart from that, I have almost a decade of experience in this embedded domain, varying technologies and varying toolkits and varying stuff of hardware that I've been worked on. So it's great to be part of this webinar. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Amsil, for joining us today. So next we have Aksa Kausar. Aksa is the Tech Lead AI at Red Buffer. Aksa, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Aksa Kausar. I'm a tech lead in AI at Red Buffer. I've been working in the field of machine learning for about 7 years now. In addition to this, I am also a Google developer expert in machine learning. And some of you may have seen me in other talks in Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi. And I believe in collaborative learning, and I believe in knowledge sharing. And so that's one thing that I do very actively is share whatever I learn with the community in Pakistan and globally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aksa, for your time today. I hope our audience will learn a lot from you today. So next we have Fatma Naveed. Fatma is one of the senior members of our estimation and design team at Lanto. Fatma, please let the audience know about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Momna, and hi, everyone. I'm Fatma Naveed, and I come from an engineering background and have been working in the estimation and design space for almost 4 years now. Over this time, I've moved from purely technical roles into leadership and now recently project management, where I am managing people from diverse backgrounds and aligning them toward common goals. I've also been one of the pioneers at Lentotech, and I really enjoy the process of building things from the ground up. And I think what excites me most during this entire process is the innovation and the constant cycle of learning and unlearning as we adapt to new situations. I truly enjoy being part of the conversations that move us forward together, just like the one we're having today.
Thank you so much, Fatma, for joining us today. And next we have Zirsha Reyaz. Zirsha is the CEO at Project Z. Zirsha, please let the audience know a little bit about yourself.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. So I'm Zirsha Riaz, I'm the founder of the Project Z. It is in Lahore, and I am the active learner of the machine learning, and I have started my career 7 years ago in this field. So it's been 7 years I'm struggling and collaborating with the different, high experts to grow in this field. So that's it. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Zirsha, for being part of this critical conversation today. So here's a quick look at what we'll be covering today. So we'll begin by discussing why this conversation around women in tech is important. And then we'll explore how inclusion drives innovation, followed by some real stories and lessons from the field. And we'll also talk about the power of diverse teams, and then we'll have a Q&A session. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat. And finally, we'll wrap things up with some practical takeaways for you to walk away with. So let's begin with why this conversation is important, not just for women in tech, but I think for the future of the industry as a whole. So we believe that there are four main reasons for this. The first one is that there is still a major challenge, which is underrepresentation. Globally, women make up to only 28% of the workforce, with even fewer in leadership roles. And if we talk about Pakistan and South Asia, this number even drops below to 15%. And secondly, I believe that inclusion isn't just good for people, it's good for business too. When people from different backgrounds and different perspectives come together, I think they bring in new ideas and even better solutions. And if you also look at the data, they also show that diverse teams are 35% more likely to outperform their competitors. And thirdly, we believe that there are still barriers for women in tech. There is limited access to funding and fewer mentorship opportunities as well. Again, if we talk about the international reports, they show that less than 2% of the global venture capital funding goes to women-led startups only. And finally, we believe that conversations like this one truly make an impact. Every time we talk openly, we share stories and learn from each other, I think we take a step forward towards a more inclusive and innovative tech industry. At Lantro, we have seen that even small initiatives and open discussions have helped us create a space where every voice matters. So on this note, we'll move forward to our first section, that is driving innovation through inclusion. So Aksa, we'd love to hear from you that what does innovation through inclusion mean to you?
Hello. So I think that's a very interesting start to the conversation. So we know what innovation is, right? Innovation is where you're bringing like-minded people. You're bringing, whether that's technology domain or any domain, you're bringing like-minded people to solve real-world challenges. When we say innovation through inclusion, I think for me that specifically means that every voice on the table holds equal value and it's heard, whether it comes from a junior, whether it comes from a senior, irrespective of your position in the company, irrespective of what background you come from, what domain you come from, whether you're a woman or you're a male. I think for me that inclusion means that every voice is heard and equally valuable. And I think that plays an important role when you have women sitting on that same table. So that inclusion is free of judgment. It's free of, this idea is coming from a woman or it's coming from a junior. And you give the same value to all the ideas on the table. I think that for me is innovation through inclusion.
Thank you so much, Aksa, for sharing your perspective with us. I think that was a great way to frame it. And it gave our audience a very clear picture of how inclusion and innovation are interlinked. So Zirsha, would love to know that how are women reshaping the innovation landscape in the tech industry today? What's your perspective on this?
Okay, if I talk about the innovation and how the women are contributing it, I think that is, the women are growing now. I can see that in the society, women are making their name, and irrespective of all the barriers or the hurdles, they are making the business towards worldwide, international, or within the country. Along with that, they can speak and they can, give the better decisions. I can give it in the form of an example. If we talk about the distribution of the power from Allah, what I see is that the woman has a good managerial skills. They are multitasking. So what I see is that if they are multitasking, they are managing the industry, their career, their home in parallel. So I have seen many women are growing, like we all ladies are here and we are successful, like running our businesses since many years, and I can see that the innovation is there. If I talk about the embedding systems, these are a very complex domain, and I can see she is handling it really well. And even if it is a machine learning or I mean, there are many founders now, and I still see there are very less CEOs who are the females, but those who are, they are really struggling and doing the things efficiently. So I think that it is the great contribution from the women today in this market.
Thank you so much, Dirsha, for sharing your thoughts on this. Fatma, would you like to add something to it, please?
Sure, Momna. I think Aksa and Disha pretty much already covered what's on my mind. But if I have to thought about what innovation means to me, I think it just not only means bringing new ideas, but it also means whose ideas are getting heard. To me, I think innovation through inclusion means bringing more spaces or making more spaces where every idea from different perspective, different backgrounds and different experiences are getting heard, and they're actually feeling valued and empowered to speak up for their voices. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Thank you so much, Fatma, for sharing your perspective with us. So our next question is, what are the most overlooked contributions women make in building tech solutions? Amsal, we'd love to hear your perspective on this one.
Sure. So I think the most important thing that we need to consider is the differences themselves. So women are not less compatible to anybody else, but they are different in the way they think, in the way they analyze things, in the way they see their general, nature. To be more emotional, to be more empathetic. So there are different aspects, different from other team members, that when they bring all these things to the table, these really add a big thing in the actual solution that you are building up. So if I talk about, for example, our country, it's almost half of the population that belongs to women. So if we miss out that perspective, if we miss out that completely, so you're not only leaving a big part of your society behind, and you're also basically missing out your market for your product or your solution as well. So whenever you are building or innovating something, building anything that you are working on, I think we should have all these sort of opinions in there. So this important contribution, that they are different and these differences should be respected and accepted. So I think this is something that we need to do, and we need to be open about it, that it's okay, they are different, but they can have a good idea, they can pitch in something good, and they can have their very good perspective in different aspects as well. So I think that's something that we just ignore. And a little bit about how they are breaking the social barriers. So not only so when they are in a position, they are trying to contribute as much as possible. But apart from that, even to gain or to be that much open and participate in all these things, they are already breaking a lot of social barriers on their side that might not be visible as such, but they have to be strong enough to overcome those things and then come forward and share all these ideas. So I think these things are mainly things that generally get overlooked, and they're just treated as normal team members, but they are actually bringing really very good things to the table.
Thank you so much, Amsal. I think it's true that many of these efforts go unseen that are actually so impactful. Okay, so moving forward comes our first poll. And the question is, what's the biggest challenge holding women back from leading innovation in tech? So let me just add the poll here, and audience, please go ahead and vote and let us know what do you think about it. So while the audience is voting, Fatma, would you like to share your point of view on this one, please?
Sure, Mona. I think, Mama, this is a tough one because all of these play a very different role in different ways. But if I had to pick, I would go with limited networks. Especially early on in our careers, I think having the right mentors and support systems can make such a big difference in opening door to opportunities. And without that, even sometimes the most talented people can find it hard to break through. So I think limited networks it is for me.
Okay, that's a very valid point, I think, Fatma. Limited networks is a very critical factor. So if you look at the audience, 36% of them have voted for limited networks, 45% have voted for fewer opportunities to lead. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for voting. It's really interesting to see where the majority stands, and it also gives us a very clear picture of what challenges we still need to address. So let's move to our next section, that is lessons from the field. So this is where we shift from the big picture to real world experiences. We added this section to our webinar because it's important to not just talk about the ideas, but also share real examples of how culture can shift in practice. So before we move forward and hear first-hand stories from our guests, I would also like to share my experience here. So one of the key lessons I have learned is that cultural shifts don't always come from big sweeping changes. Rather, they often start with small intentional steps that make people feel valued and included. So, for instance, when we introduced a daycare facility at our office at Lantro, it really showed us that how important it is for working mothers to feel included and supported. Similarly, when we rolled out a wellness leave policy, it reinforced the idea that uh, productivity really comes from balance. And when you give people the freedom to take care of their well being, they will surely return more energized and committed. And perhaps the most powerful shift we have seen is in making sure that women are part of every major decision making process. So at Lantro, this has not only improved the quality of the decisions, but it has also created a stronger sense of inclusion and belonging across the company. So now let's move forward and hear from our guests. So Amsal, would you like to share with us that what challenges have you faced as a woman in tech and how did you overcome them?
Sure, sure. So when I started my career, I had a good academic background. Like I had a 4.0 CGPA and a gold medal as well. But when I joined my started my first job, it was really tough to make my space over there and gain the trust. Though I have all the qualifications that any other colleague might have. So, but it was, and then I was only there was only one female other than me in the team. So the overall the complete team was a bit reluctant to have a female in the group, and there were many communication gaps over there. And then on top of it, I was from embedded, so I had to gain trust that I can deal with the hardware. You can just give it to me, and I can work with it safely. I know it's expensive, but I can handle that. So all these things are, I think, major things that were a bit of hindrance for me. And then there was a lack of inclusiveness in the team. As I mentioned, there were not as much females, and all the environment in the team was not like very much welcoming. So I didn't feel much included in all the decisions, all the tasks, and all that stuff. And at the same time, the expectation from me was that I should have a proactive approach to show interest in the tasks and all that stuff. So they were do very different things that I had to face. And at that time, I think when we were just starting our careers, things are already very difficult. We are just entering the industry, and we don't know what to do and all that stuff. But they were the only female that I mentioned. She was also very positive, and she also guided me a lot. The way I overcome all these things was just to focus on my learning, and just to be patient with everything. So what I did was I had to block all the negative thoughts and the reactions when I had to enter the lab where they were all male colleagues. So you see all those expressions, and oh yeah, we were a bit relaxed, and now she's there and all that stuff. So you had to make space. You have to overcome all these things, and just to have that one goal in your mind that you need to learn. This is your time. This is your opportunity. Gain as much as you can. So it took a lot of time to gain all these things. There were ups and downs in that, and all these experiences. um, I would just say, not some in a bad terms, but they actually, these sort of experiences also help you learn what you should not do to your juniors and all that stuff. So all these experiences basically, and all these struggles, they led to me in such a position that I was basically a very trustful employee over there. So if there was any task, they would say, okay, you can give it to Amsal and just forget about it. She'll get it done. So that sort of trust was there then. And then after some years, I was leading teams in the projects. I was, entrusted with the leadership as well. And I was part of all these, any internship programs or anything that they were there. So I was a part of those things as well. And also some of the managers come to introduce me to their daughters, and also show me as a motivation for their daughters as well, and discuss something with me as well, that these are the things and how we should proceed. So it was overall not, I would say, a very easy thing to move forward with, but with patience and just focusing on the positive side and just on the learning and good things, you can make your space over there. With time, and then after a few years, as I mentioned, I was also in the lead position. Then the whole environment was different. There were so many females that got hired. There were many interns, and then there was a time even in the project, all the sub teams were led by women. So it was a big shift that I would say I saw during my tenure in that one job. So that's I think just what I went through my career.
Thank you so much, Amsal, for sharing your experience with us. I think hearing your experience has surely given everyone a lot of encouragement, and it's a reminder that these challenges are just part of your journey to growth and success. So, Zirsha, now moving on to you, we'd love to know that how do you push through moments of self doubt or imposter syndrome?
Okay, so if I start from the part that it is definitely not an easy thing to start the stuff, like uh, you are entering in totally a new domain and you are doing the stuff yourself. There is no mentor. The first thing what I feel is missing is the if there are male, the society is male oriented and they sit together or their business minded discussions all lead to a very productive outcome. But when it comes to me as a female, I feel this thing that I cannot discuss my stuff with anyone else, with any other partner or any other technical person who is a very technical person. But what happens then is I, feel sometimes dull due to this reason. But ultimately, you have to do everything yourself, so just focus on your stuff. I prefer to mention down all the list of the to dos and the early goals, like this is my 2 month achieve my 2 month goals, these are my 6 months goals, or I have to achieve this within a year, and then I move forward. Recently, I had an international tour alone. Nobody was with me, and I thought that okay, I will manage it myself. And nothing had happened. It was a very productive one, and I had a very nice discussions with everyone and the sales as well. So I would say if you are confident, then no one will blame. No one is going to discourage you. The other co-founders or the other founders or the higher authority tech people, if they are even males, they are going to respect you. This is what I have observed. So the society is changing, and we have to be the good examples to encourage other women to be there. So my answer for the self-doubt is that I compose myself and I get back with more motivation, that I have to work, I have to prove myself.
Thank you so much, Zirsha, for sharing your experience and suggestions. So we'll now move towards the next question. That is, what helped you navigate leadership in male-dominated spaces? Aksa, we'd love to hear from you on this one.
Okay, that's an interesting one, and I guess something that has definitely related to my field, because I think about 7 years ago, machine learning was not that common, and there were very few people, especially in senior roles, who knew machine learning and who had good grasp of the concept. So it was definitely challenging to be able to come to that position of leadership first, and then to be able to navigate through that in a male dominated space. But I think there are several factors that go into this. Something that I've always very closely held on to is definitely self-learning and self-confidence. If you're leading a space, and if you're leading a domain, and if you're leading a team, then you have to be able to have something to be able to give to them, right? They need to be able to look up to you, to be able to come to you. You have to be a great listener. And I think that's where I would iterate back to what I initially said, that you have to value every voice that comes from that table, right? Whether it's a female, it's a junior or whoever. So you have to be a great listener to be able to lead, whether that's a male dominated space or any space. And I think a self learning and self confidence, those are two things that you need to hold on to. But being supportive and aware, and having that clarity and consistency where you make sure that your work speaks for itself, and being able to hold your space confidently, I think those are some important factors that go into navigating this. But in this, I think I would also very much want to appreciate all the men in these fields who have been supportive and appreciative of the women around them, and who, where, to whom it doesn't matter, okay, if you're reporting to a woman. I think it really goes out to those men in our fields as well, and to be able to get that respect and appreciation that they are also starting to treat us as equals. And of course, so I feel that especially in my company in Red Buffer, I've always had that support from the team, and also to be able to have a mentor, because it know-it-all person. I don't think that's true for any case and any leader. So it I think I dropped off for a bit, but it's good to be it's good to learn from the people around you, and in that case also I think there's no bias. You can learn from your juniors, you can learn from your seniors, and to have mentors. So I think in my case I always looked at the people that I was reporting to as my mentors, and learning from them, and trying to learn what they're doing right, or how I would want to have my personality in my leadership, and treating everybody as equal and having that respect. And of course, like I think I've had great support, not just from the company, but also generally in my personal life as well, from the men in my life, from my husband, my parents, my in-laws. So I think all of that eventually reflects and helps you build confidence when you're standing in a space of leadership in a male-dominated environment.
Thank you so much, Aksa, for sharing your journey with us. So let's hear from Fatma now that, sorry, what cultural shifts has she personally contributed to at work?
All right. So, Mona, can I be honest here? When I first came across this question while preparing for the webinar, I thought to myself, this is going to be a tricky one. And I think that's where many of us women operate a bit differently because we tend to downplay our own contributions. Anyways, instead of answering it on my own, I reached out to some of the people I have worked closely with over the years, because who better to answer than the ones who have seen the impact firsthand. So, what I learned was that I have created an environment that is built on trust, where people feel empowered to take initiative without being micromanaged, and they're safe to share their mistakes without any fear of judgment. I try my best to advocate for their concerns at the management level, and I try to encourage inclusivity in the technical discussions as much as I can. And also I try my best to focus on collaboration over working in isolation. And I think most importantly, the feedback that I got was that I try my best to ensure that everybody feels supported to grow, not just as individuals but actually as a team. And this really ties back into what you talked about earlier, that the culture shift isn't about one big action. It is actually about all the small consistent ways that we show up every day. And I think if my leadership has helped create a space where people are feeling trusted, heard, and they're actually thriving, then I feel that's the kind of contribution I want to keep making.
Thank you so much, Fatma, for sharing that with us. I have witnessed it myself, and it's clear that your efforts have left a real mark on our workplace culture. So, moving on comes our second poll. The question is, what support matters most for women to thrive in tech? So, I'll just add the poll here. So, audience, please go ahead and vote. So, while the audience is voting, Aksa, would you like to let us know your opinion on this one, please?
That's an interesting one. I feel like all of these things are important. um, I think definitely mentorship I think that's pretty important to be able to have that mentorship and guidance in your life, because I think if you're just progressing in technical domain, okay, let's say you were like an intern, you became a machine learning engineer, junior ML, to a certain point, your technical strengths would be enough. But when we talk about leadership, I think it takes a lot more than just being technically sound to be able to lead a team. And I feel that that's where mentorship and guidance, those things play a very big role. So even if you have an inclusive culture, even if you have recognition for your technical strengths, even if you have, great work policies, even if you have the opportunities, I feel you would still miss out on being able to step in those leadership roles if you don't have the right guidance and the right mentorship. So I think that's my 2 cents on this.
Thank you so much, Aksa, for sharing your opinion. The audience has, majority of them have also voted for mentorship and guidance. So I think that is a very important one. So thank you everyone for voting. So now we'll move on to our last section, that is the power of diverse teams. So in this section, we'll highlight how people with different backgrounds and perspectives can achieve more when they work together. So Zirsha, we'd love to know that have you ever experienced the impact of working in a diverse team? What changed for you?
Okay, if I talk about the diverse team working back in my university, when I was there, I observed that there were like multiple groups. Obviously, there can be co-groups or there can be only the groups of the boys or the girls. So I observed that thing there that, what at that time, the girl, for example, if a girl is good in the styling or in the documentation or in the management, then she was doing a great job at that side. Like there was no mess, everything was going smooth in that direction. And if a boy is good in the technical aspect, he was doing that great. On the other side, if the woman is good in the technical aspect, she is doing all the coding or the hardware connections very nicely, and the boy is dealing the other research part, let's say. And what I observed it in the machine learning field is that, for example, we are solving a problem, and if there is only the group of the boys who are sitting there and solving it, they will only solve it according to their perspective. They won't bother that what a woman can face, right? So these things I have observed, that if the woman is contributing in a problem, she will tell that what the problems can they face, even if there is any data training part in the ML. If it is without the males, if it is without the males or even without the females, then how it can be a best solution? It can only be the best solution if both parties are involved. Like if half of the population is of the women, then why we don't include them, or why the woman is not participating? If she will participate, then the solution will be more authentic and more productive. And the obviously the sales will increase, and like all the business perspective will increase as well. So I think the both are very important, and I have observed it in my field in this way.
Thank you so much, Zirsha, for sharing your experience. So, Aksa, would you like to add something to it, please?
Yes, of course. I think when you're working in a diverse team, I feel that it brings a lot more confidence on both sides of the team. So it also makes the women more confident. It also makes the men more confident, and especially for the women, because that's something that historically they have felt, especially in the domain of tech, that their ideas are not that valuable, or they are not looked upon as technically that strong. So I think especially for the women, it brings a lot of confidence when they're working in a mixed team, and it's confidence both sides, but especially for the women. And I also, because they would feel more included and more involved. And so that's one thing that I feel that diversity definitely brings. I also feel that when you're working in a diverse environment, you definitely ask better questions. because they're going to be different perspectives. They're going to be perspectives from different experiences of women and men, and there may even be opposing perspectives, and that's totally fine, as long as it's healthy and it's respectful. And you may have women pushing on one edge case, and you may have the men pushing on another edge case. And I feel that overall, that even those opposing perspectives eventually bring out the good in the product that you're building. So definitely something that brings about fruitful results in the end.
Thank you, Aksa and Zirsha. I think your experience really highlights that why diverse teams are so powerful. Okay, so next question is, what differences have you noticed in collaboration styles in mixed gender teams? Amsal, would love to hear you on this one.
Sure. So I think if we talk about technically, I think we have already discussed that we have differences, different sort of thinking style and analytical skills and all that stuff. So I think when you sit together with such diverse teams and listen to other perspective, so you also learn to see it from other side as well. So with time, you will also learn that skills, that how you can see the other side of the things as well, and there could be other sides of the things that you are considering. So just to have that idea that there could be other things, and then getting those things along. So one thing is related to that your own perspective, your own thinking process gets improved, and you also see other things. And then other apart from these building solutions and all that said, overall in the culture, I feel that the teams with these mixed genders, I think they show more respect and patience towards other team members. So they are cautious about how they are talking, how they are behaving in the team, and all these things. I think they also are very important to build up a culture, a team, and a positive environment for everyone to contribute to it. So I think these two aspects are really the things that really are important in this.
Thank you, Amsal. I really liked how you highlighted those differences. They show just how much stronger collaboration becomes when diverse perspectives are at the table. So, moving forward, Fatma, would you let us know that what collaboration strengths do women bring to tech environments?
Sure, Mona. So I think there were two things that I think Zirsha and Amsal mentioned earlier as well. So one was that women are just meant to be more, I think, empathetic, and I think Zirsha mentioned that they're just good multitaskers. So I think those two things, if you put them on the table, in general, I think women bring a unique set of collaboration strengths to tech environments, because they again they often approach teamwork with empathy and active listening, so which creates spaces for more voices to be heard, and that naturally leads to more inclusive discussions and better solutions. And I've also noticed that women typically balance attention to detail with big picture thinking very well, which makes collaboration not just about completing tasks, but about working together toward shared goals. And now that we're already talking about this, I would also like to highlight a broader truth about inclusion, that diverse streams are not just nice to have. They actually outperform because they challenge biases, they introduce fresh perspectives, and they design solutions that serve wider audiences. So for me, I think the strength women bring isn't just about adding diversity to the room. It's about shaping the way we work together in a way that makes innovation more sustainable and more impactful.
Thank you so much, Fatma, for sharing your experience with us on this one. Okay, so here are a few small but powerful ways through which we can turn today's insights into real actions. So, mentor a woman in tech. You can just share your experience and open doors for someone else. Starting some project that's been on a hold for a long time. Your ideas do matter, so please give them a chance. Call out bias whenever you see it. So, do speak up, even in small moments, to create that change. Speak up more in meeting. Your voice does add value, so don't just hold back. Share your story online, so inspire others by telling them about your journey, and advocate for inclusive hiring wherever you work. So you need to really push for fair opportunities that do strengthen the team. So you can just take a screenshot of this, pick any one of them, and you can either drop it in the chat or just keep it to yourself. So as I mentioned in the start that we have a Q&A session at the end, so we'll move to that. So please drop your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer as many of them as we can. Okay, so first question is, how do you handle situations where your expertise is underestimated because of gender? Aksa, would you like to take this one, please?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think if I think you're asking from the perspective where you've identified that you feel that it's underestimated, definitely because of your gender. I think this is where your self-confidence, your belief in yourself really comes into play. If you think that if you're doing a project and you have a perspective and you feel that it comes from your fair knowledge and it comes from a fair perspective, then I would definitely say stand your ground. If you feel that you're being undermined and you're not and this is something that's definitely being reflected because of a gender bias, then that's something definitely to call out. And that's where your leadership matters a lot, where you can go to and share your concern that this is something that you have faced and this is something that you have felt. And so I think those are two things that I would definitely I would do and I have done in the past, that if I feel that something if I felt that there has been a gender bias, and we want to be able to speak on these things, because if we want these things to eventually go away, this is the moment, right? So I would definitely speak to my leaders and bring it up. Whether it's catered, whether something happens, how they figure it out, that's another story. But I think the first responsibility is on you to be able to call it out and to be able to be able to bring it up. And the second is definitely, if you know that what you have a perspective or you have a decision and you have a say somewhere, and you are confident in what you're saying, then definitely hold your ground and navigate through that. So yeah, I think that's how I would want to personally handle it.
Thank you, Aksa. I think we answered your question, Anush. So the next question is from Aruj. She is asking that what advice would you give to women who are just starting their careers in tech? Fatma, would you like to take this one, please?
Sure, Mona. All right. I think pretty much throughout the session we have talked about this, but I think my advice would be to stay curious and never hesitate to ask questions, because tech can feel overwhelming at first, but I think you have to remember that nobody knows everything. Learning is part of the journey, and build a strong support system, whether it's mentors, peers, or communities, whatever it is, because having people to guide and encourage you, it makes such a huge difference. And most importantly, I think back yourself, your perspective, your ideas, and whatever you bring into the table, it's important, even if you are the only woman in the room. I think Amsal can back it up.
Thank you so much, Fatma. Okay, so next question we have is from Aruba, and she's asking that how do we ensure diversity isn't just a buzzword, but actually reflected in hiring and promotions? So I think I'll take this one. I think that fair and unbiased hiring is just one part of it. I think what really matters is what happens after that. So HR can make sure about things like promotions and performance reviews, that they are handled fairly, and then there are equal opportunities of growth as well for everybody. And secondly, I think that the company culture is very important too. I think that I believe the environment is inclusive, and if leaders genuinely value diverse perspectives, and if there is flexibility for work life balance, women will definitely grow and thrive. Okay, so next question we have from Maham. She's asking that what emerging tech trends should women in tech be aware to stay competitive? So, Amsal, would you like to take this one?
Sure. I think it also depends on what exact domain you're talking about. So, all these things. You have to keep learning. In tech, you always have to keep learning. So be open to have that sort of an attitude that if you are given a task or you have some challenge in front of you, feel free to take that challenge, break the limits, learn new things. So first thing is that develop that attitude in yourself, and then another thing would be to seek for some good guidance and mentorship. And if you have gained a level of expertise or something, or you are gaining some knowledge, then you should also share with others and all the juniors coming right after you. So I think these sort of things can actually help how we can keep up with the technology. So it depends on different things that you are doing. Either you are just developing coding skills or stuff like this. So, and also one thing to remember over here is that in your career, I think Aksa also mentioned that one thing is the technical side, and to up to certain limit, those things are very important for sure. And for that, you have to develop your learning skills. But other than that, when you progress in your careers, there are other things that are also very important to have that, managerial skills, to have that leadership skills, to have those communication skills, to be able to have hard talks with the team or with clients and stuff like this. So all these things would help you in grow your career in addition to your technical abilities. Technical abilities can take you to up to a limit, but then your other skills also matter. So we should be thinking about these things work together in becoming a very successful person as you grow in their career. So I think that's if that answers your question.
Thank you, Amsal. So the next question is from Anusha, that what advice would you give to women entering their first job in tech? I think Fatma already answered this one. So I think that's all from the Q&A session. So if you have any more questions, you can definitely reach out to us and we'll try to answer them. Okay, so now moving on. So here are some actionable takeaways. I would love for you to reflect on these ones. So the first one is that what's one change you like to see in the tech industry for women in the next 5 years? What habit or mindset has helped you the most in your own journey? And finally, what's one piece of advice you'd share with the next generation of women leaders? So just feel free to drop your thoughts in the chat or just take a moment to think about them for yourself. So it's feedback time now. Your feedback really helps us improve and create even better sessions in the future. So please take a moment to vote. I'll just add the poll here. Just give me a second here. So do let us know that did this session inspire you? So most of the people are saying yes. So that makes us really happy to know that this session was meaningful. So thank you so much for voting and sharing your thoughts with us. We truly appreciate it. So as we wrap up, a big thank you to our amazing speakers for sharing their time and experience with us today. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. I hope that you are leaving with inspiration and practical takeaways to bring back to your teams. So if you enjoyed today's webinar, do follow Lantotech on our socials for more informative sessions. And if there are any topics you'd like us to cover next time, we'd love to hear them as well. We really look forward to seeing all of you again. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.